All right, welcome back to the channel. Wow, man. Teofimo Lopez has no future in the higher weight divisions, according to Vasily Lomachenko, because he's not that good. He'll lose to Jose Ramirez. He will lose to Spence. Again, because he's not that good. That is what Vasily Lomachenko has to say. Is he feeling a little sour grapes? I think he is. Does he have a point? Maybe. He's one of the greatest fighters of all times. Don't you remember? Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. See, these are the times where the boxing media don't like to talk to me, where they don't like the videos that I am going to put out. Because I was there when this same boxing media that now has issues with me was telling me day in and day out that Vasily Lomachenko was the greatest fighter that they had ever seen in their lives. Equal to, on par with a young Muhammad Ali. Let me tell you when young Muhammad Ali fought. A young Muhammad Ali was fighting in like 1966. That was 54 years ago, Holmes. 54, 55 years ago. That, just 6 months ago, was the level of respect Vasily Lomachenko had in the boxing public. With Ring Magazine, with ESPN. He was #1 pound for pound. He had angles and things you had never seen before. The Eastern European was dominating American boxing. Dominating it. I say American boxing because that's what I mean. They say black boxing because that's what they think about it. I think American boxing because that's where I'm from. American boxing was dying because of Vasily Lomachenko and Wojciech and Usyk. That's what we were. Do you remember that just last year? Then just in a short amount of time, amazing things took place. Wojciech got knocked out. He's no longer a champion. Usyk ain't fought nobody and looked like garbage against Chaz Witherspoon and so-so against Derek Chisora. He's not on the top of the planet anymore. And Lomachenko lost. So I'm sure when Vasily Lomachenko says the guy that beat him is not going to do extremely well at 140 and 147 because he's not good enough, I know that because he's such a great champion, and he's such another level of athlete and intellect. I know you saw it. He's a genius. They had videos of him everywhere of touching little lights in a row. He can remember, like, for real. Lomachenko, if you put some, like, lights on the wall and you flash up like 6 lights in consecutive fashion, he'll remember where all 6 of those lights were. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll remember it all. And he can also punch tennis balls on his head. You remember all those neat tricks they would show you about Vasily Lomachenko that just told you how much greater he was than everybody else? All of a sudden, that doesn't exist anymore because it's Teofimo Lopez's time. Teofimo Lopez beats him. Now Vasily Lomachenko is a crybaby. He's a crybaby. He is somebody that does not deserve a rematch and should not be taken seriously in the lightweight division as somebody that could be, you know, a 2-time champion, right? Why? Why all of a sudden? We know why all of a sudden. Because Bob Arum told the media, no, we're not selling Bob. We're not telling. Well, let me rephrase this. Bob Arum tells his de facto employees that we're not going to be pitching Lomachenko like that anymore. We're going to be pitching Teofimo. It's the takeover. Okay, it's no more Matrix, no more Nomaschenko, no mas, what is the other one? No mas the Matrix, no mas el Matrix. No, I can't even pronounce it. I wanted to do the roll my R. I wanted to roll my R's when I said Matrix, right? No more of that, right? Because Teofimo Lopez has arrived. Now, back to reality. They're going to do the same thing with Teofimo Lopez that they did with Vasily. Vasily says that Teofimo Lopez can't go to 140 and 147 and beat those guys. He's not good enough. And you know what I say to that? He's right. No, he cannot. He's not going to go beat Jose Ramirez. He's not going to beat Josh Taylor. But it's not going to be because he doesn't have the ability to beat them. He's not going to beat them because he's the same type of hype job as Vasily Lomachenko. Because I distinctly remember this same conversation that Orlando Salido, that Lomachenko's having now, that Orlando Salido was having for years with Lomachenko. Hey, man, I beat you. Can I get a rematch? What does Lomachenko say? No, you can't get a rematch. I'm beyond that. We are at different levels and different stages in our careers. That's what Lomachenko said. That's what he said to Orlando Salido, who beat him. So what is Teofimo Lopez now saying to Lomachenko, who did not beat him? He's saying, I'm at a different stage in my career. No rematch. You have to go get yourself I know I've got all of the belts. That's what the WBC is saying, right? The WBC says, no, Devin Haney is not our champion. It is the great Teofimo Lopez, who doesn't have mandatories and all of that. You know, the franchise belt. The WBC says their champion is really Teofimo Lopez. The WBA, the WBO, and the IBF all say that Teofimo Lopez is their champion. So who exactly is Lomachenko supposed to go prove himself against? Right? Nobody. Because according to Teofimo Lopez, he's got all the belts. What would happen if Lomachenko fought Devin Haney and got his hands on the regular WBC belt? Nothing, because that's not the real belt. You know why? Because Lomachenko himself dropped it and went to go get the franchise belt. Thought it was a smart move, huh? Not a smart move. Not a smart move, Vasily, because now you can't even get yourself to be a mandatory with this guy with the WBC. And you probably couldn't even work to get it with any of the other ones either, because that's not the plan. That's not the plan. The plan is it's TO takeover time, you know? That's the plan. Now, if you don't believe me, look at Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is the biggest moneymaker below 147 pounds. He is. And ESPN and the boxing magazines act like Gervonta is the one that needs to prove himself to Teofimo. So all of this amounts to this. Lomachenko ain't going to get that rematch, because if Lomachenko gets that rematch, he's got a chance to beat Teofimo Lopez, and that's not in the plans, okay? Teofimo Lopez is not going to fight Devin Haney because Devin Haney has a chance to be able to beat Devin Haney, and that is not in the plan. I mean, Devin Haney has the ability to beat Teofimo Lopez, and that's just not in the plan. And the media knows what the plan is, and the media is going to go with the plan because the media works for the promoters. The media don't work for the fans. I think I rhymed completely accidentally, but it's the same point. You get what I'm saying. If we ever want to really start getting these fights that we want to get, the closest thing that we can get our hands on is the media. The fighters, we need the fighters, right? And the fighters are going to be like, hey, you know, they have to make, the fighters are tough. The promoters are tough, even harder to influence. But these media guys, all you have to do is not listen to them. That's it. All you have to do is not listen to them. And if you do say something about them, tell people that, look, man, these guys are full of it. We know that the Errol Spence Jr. versus Canelo Alvarez fight is the biggest fight in boxing. We know that based off simple mathematics. Do they tell you that? No. Media, we know Deontay Wilder is in an arbitration, is in a dispute resolution process with Tyson Fury. Does the media reflect that in their reporting? No. If that's the case, then they're not engaging in journalism. We just need to point that out and keep the pressure and keep the word out about the fights that we know they should be making. People can get as upset as they want about the fact that as soon as Canelo Alvarez beat Callum Smith, I started going in on Canelo Alvarez and Errol Spence, Canelo Alvarez and Jermall Charlo. And the reason that I did that is because they were going to immediately jump into some Yaldemir nonsense. The mainstream press is jumping towards Yaldemir. This is the same guy that got knocked silly by Chris Eubank in the World Boxing Super Series the year before last. Canelo is going to knock this dude out with one shot in like the second or third round. I guarantee you, the dude cannot fight. But yet the boxing media want to tell you that this is the qualified opponent. They don't know or they don't believe it, but it doesn't matter. Got to start holding these media guys accountable, letting these guys know, hey, man, you're telling me that these are the real fights. These aren't the real fights. I'm doing my own research. No. Jermall Charlo Jermall Charlo's a very, very good fighter, and he's a way better fighter than Callum Smith. Before that fight, I was literally having debates and conversations with people where they were telling me how much better and more highly skilled Callum Smith is than Jermall Charlo. That's just ridiculous. But they keep pushing it. So you have to push back. And that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to give, at least I'm going to give my opinion based on what I see in the rankings, in the fighters themselves, right? And the business side of it. Because these media people that I'm telling you, they're working for the promoters, they're not being straight with you. They're not being straight with you. There's no way reasonable people can believe all of the ridiculousness that they're saying. They just can't, right? But the people that are making the money, they've been in boxing a long time, and they've got their feelers out, and they've got their relationships with all of these people. And that's why you see the pushback. But they're going to have to push back. But if they keep pushing back and we keep pushing at them, eventually we're going to start getting fights that we want to see and fights that they don't want to make. Because that's the thing. Having enough influence behind them, a fan's voice, and customer voices to force these guys into making fights that they otherwise would not make because their matchmakers are telling them, nah, man, this is not an 80% chance here, man. Okay, yeah, we think Canelo can pull this off, but dude, we're way closer to like 55-45 on this one, Bob. Okay, yeah, we're 90% on Callum Smith. He's just going to be able to walk Callum down, but he's not going to be able to do that with Jermall because Jermall's jab is just way different. And those type of conversations where you then force the matchmakers and the promoters to have to respond to the requests from their customers. And the media wants to shut down the complaint boxes. That should not be a surprise for people that are part of the establishment. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.